It's BBC Radio 2 playing I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas. And the slight guffaw off mic is the one and only Rick Wakeman. And as soon as you hear Rick sitting at the piano, you know it's Christmas. Hello, Rick. How are you?
Hello, sir. How quickly the year goes.
I know.
You know.
Have you had a good year?
It's been lovely. I mean, I enjoy life. I mean, it's my second year of being a pensioner. And it means you can do so many wonderful things as a pensioner. You can push to the front of queues.
Yes.
You know, you can do that kind of thing and push people out the way and at the supermarket be awkward and pick things off a shelf and put them somewhere completely different.
Yes, so you're as grumpy and as difficult as ever.
Oh, absolutely. You go into a whole new reading of grumpiness. You know, it's wonderful.
This is our request section, our request section, which we've done for a number of years. It's a seasonal moment, and I just love the completely random set of music choices that we get asked to send. So this has only just come in, by the way. Bronwyn Buckley in Stanton Harcourt, just outside Oxford, as you know. My husband and I are huge Rick Wakeman fans. Please, could he play Pachelbel's Canon? We went to see him on one occasion, and I was quite clear that if he didn't play it, I'd get up and ask. Anyway, he came on stage, he sat down at the piano and he played it. Well, it makes my heart sing. If not, my husband Richard would like the nursery rhyme concerto. Anyway, so, you know, it's not particularly seasonal, but...
no, that's true, it's not, actually. And what I used to do a version of Packable.
Very good. That completely unrehearsed. Anyway, came in 5 seconds later. It's on Packable's Canon with extra Rick Wakeman twiddly bits.
And the interesting thing about Packable's Canon, that chord sequence which he wrote, has been used for so many songs. If you fancy a giggle one day, play Streets of London straight after it.
Oh, really?
And it's exactly the same chord sequence. There's hundreds of songs that have taken that chord sequence from dear old Packable.
Paul and Julie Morrison on an email. Simon, delighted to hear Rick Wakeman is again on your show this year. He does like Mondays. Yes, he does. Great for getting us into the Christmas spirit. We really enjoyed listening to Rick playing his versions of well-known carols last year. We would love him to play O Little Town of Bethlehem. Now, I don't think you're the biggest fan of O Little Town of Bethlehem, but maybe you can do something.
I mean, I do love carols. I love carols a lot, and the actual words to O Little Town of Bethlehem are really, they float. They're really quite dreamy, and I've always found the tune, which is a great tune, a bit ploddy. But the interesting thing is, if you just change the time signature to either 3/4, so it's 3 beats in a bar instead of 4, or 6/8, whatever you like, then it floats a lot better. I shall give you an example.
Yes, show us. You can dance to that one.
Yeah, it should go on Sickly Come Dancing, shouldn't it, really?
You could do that.
But it is interesting. You've only got to change the time, and it floats so much more that and if you actually sing along with it, if anybody wants to play it back and sing along with it, it really does bring the words much more to life than what I call the Mr. Plod version.
So advice for choristers and music leaders everywhere.
It's not difficult to do. It's very easy to adapt, and I think choirs would enjoy it more, and especially if they're doing counterpart melodies, there's an awful lot more you can do if you just change that time signature.
Now, about an hour ago, we played a tune of yours. Well, it's not one of yours, but you're on it, along with the English Chamber Choir, plus some extraordinary singing from a young soprano.
Yes.
Who is standing right in front of us. So just introduce her and explain how you met.
Okay. Emmie Beckett, who is now 15.
Hello, Emmie, by the way. Into
Hello.
that. Yeah, hi.
Emmie was 13 when I first met her. We're both patrons of a children's charity called Kids and Cancer. And the guy who runs it, a great friend of ours called Mike Harmon, he asked me to go up to Chesterfield for one of the fundraisers. And he said, there's a great young girl singing. You've got to hear her. She's absolutely amazing. She's only 13. And I thought, I've heard all this before. So I trotted up there, and I'm not saying this because Emmie's obviously just standing in front of me, but jaws dropped when she started singing. She sang "Oh Mio Babino" and a couple of other arias, and just tore the place apart. And I just thought she had such a fantastic voice and a wonderfully great future. I introduced her to the same management that broke Catherine Jenkins and Farrell Smith and a few others who are looking after us, because it's too easy to bring somebody, with no disrespect of Emmie's age, on too quickly, ruin the voice, and she's got a long career ahead of her. One of the things that Emmie and I talked about doing was a Christmas record, because Emmie is a very devout Christian and wanted to do a record that really had the meaning of Christmas as well as everything else in it. And so we picked Welcome a Star off of the oratorio New Gospels and recorded it, as you quite rightly said, with English Chamber Choir, the Iran Orchestra, and me in the background.
It was hard to think, Emmie, that you don't sound 15. You sound as though you have a very mature voice. How long have you been singing for?
Well, I started singing when I went to secondary school, so for a few years now. But before that, I didn't sing at all. So secondary school really tried to involve me in the music department.
Yeah. And when you met Rick, you obviously thought, I must go back and listen to all his classic Yes albums and maybe play some old Straubs tracks. And there's the Six Wives of Henry VIII. You must have been listening to that a lot, I would think.
Yes, every day.
Yeah, and also, of course, the Myths and Legends of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. You get that great gatefold sleeve and the words. I mean, you must have been listening to that non-stop, I would think.
Of course.
Yeah, right.
I don't think you had a clue who I was.
No.
Not a clue. I mean, it was...
don't know what I'm talking about either.
I mean, bless her, we sang... Emmie sang at a big Tim Rice concert at the Sage in Gateshead. And I think the other people that were on, some quite famous people, there was an awful lot of Googling going on from young Emmie as to, who's this then? It's great fun.
Okay, well, we've got some music and we have some words. So, what is the song that we've chosen?
One which was don't ask me who it was, but also wrote in. We have hastily rehearsed. Oh Holy Night.
Oh Holy Night. Excellent. Okay, Emmie and Rick, take it away.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Saviour's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary soul rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, nor heed the angel voice.
Christ was born. No night divine, no nights divine. Led by the light of faith serenely beaming, with glowing hearts by his cradle we stand. Led by the light of a star sweetly gleaming, here came the wise men from the Orient land. The King of Kings lay thus in lowly manger, in all our trials, born to be a friend. He knows our needs, to our weakness he is no stranger. Behold your King, before him lowly bend. No night divine, no night, no nights
Hello, that was fantastic. That was absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
The name is.
Emmie Beckett.
Where are you from, Emmie?
I'm from Bridlington.
What would you count as success? What is your ambition? What would you like to be?
I would love to have singing as a career, but I'm not too sure yet.
Well, the audience think you're fabulous. What a voice, Simon. Reduced me to tears. Amazing. What a future she has. So Debbie in the West Midlands. Shivers down my spine. This is Simon in Milton Keynes. From the very first note, Emmie has a fantastic voice. Simon and the team was dreading the rush hour home, but I turned on the radio. Wow, this is great. That's Matt in Bolton. There you go. So
That's really nice.
heading for great things. Rick's an interesting guy, Emmie, as you're going to find out. Paul Martin in Clifford. Ask Rick if it's true about him signing an album in a toilet whilst being detained by the police on his way home from a Brentford game.
Partly correct, yes. It was, as you know, Simon, I've been teetotal since 1985.
This story predates that.
This goes back to 1984, and I hasten to add, I'm not proud of this one iota. I did get stopped and breathalyzed about half a mile from my home, and basically, to cut the story short, I was actually only 1 point over, but it makes no difference whatsoever. You're over, but I'd had a rather vicious curry that lunchtime, and I needed to. I desperately needed basically a bathroom, and so I asked the policeman who had detained me if I could go to somebody's house and do the honours, and eventually went into this house. Where I went into, the story is much longer than this, but I've shortened it up, and sat down thinking, this is absolutely bizarre. I'm sitting here in the downstairs loo of a stranger's house. The door had to be left open because he didn't trust me to lock it. And I'm sitting there in my Camberley Town blazer. I was chairman of Camberley Town at the time, sitting thinking, this is ridiculous. Here I am sitting in my suit with my Camberley Town badge on, after having a Caribbean arrested for drink driving on a stranger's loo. Surely nothing else can happen. And at that moment, through the gap in the door, this is absolutely true, and the album of Journey to the Centre of the Earth came through, and this woman's voice said, would you sign this for my son Jeffrey?
There you go. Okay, and all these emails here, by the way, Emmie and Rick, they're all about Emmie. Good evening, Simon. What a voice. I was on my motorcycle with my Bluetooth radio on and I was thinking, OK, 15-year-old, can her voice sound that mature? Knock me sideways. What an amazing voice. Brilliant voice. Hard to believe she's only 15. Lovely to have Rick back. Get him on every week. I think he's a little bit busy. Anyway, right, here's it. Let's see what I'm going to throw you a bunch of songs, see what you could do to wrap this up, OK? In the Bleak Midwinter, please. This is Helen Gilbert. I really like this carol. Frosty the Snowman, please. This is Rachel Canon in Belfast. This would be a weird medley. Can you ask Rick to dip into his David Bowie back catalogue and play Life on Mars with a little bit of Peace on Earth, Little Drummer Boy? And maybe I Saw Three Ships for Dennis Dickinson in Dunbar. Anyway, I'm just throwing it all at you.
Okay.
And then you play anything and we'll just see what comes back.
Yeah, it might be a real mixture and a pastiche.
Doesn't matter.
And one of the great things about twiddly bits is if you suddenly get lost, I can twiddle.
It's like an edit point.
So I shall try and twiddle. How long would you like this pastiche twiddlies to go?
2.5.
2.5. I'll do what I can.
Or whatever seems appropriate. That was fantastic. Rick Wakeman at the Elton John piano for Radio 2 Drive Time. That was great. Another All Request Christmas, a beautiful medley. Each track perfect, and we recognise them all. Rick, thank you so much for coming down again.
Thank you so much for inviting us on. I can't wait till next year.
And thank you very much indeed for introducing us to a top new soprano talent.
Thank you.
Happy Christmas to you both. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thanks, Simon.
Travel next.